Saints head coach Kellen Moore on New Orleans selecting Kelvin Banks with the 9th overall pick. Ladies and gentlemen, the king of New Orleans, Kellen Moore. My guy. I love him like a brother. What a guy. Trust him with my life. We're going to hear what he had to say about the first round, the process, Banks, all that good stuff. We are using New Orleans.football's video for this reaction because their product is constantly better, audio and video-wise, than the actual New Orleans Saints' own video and audio. So, unbelievable stuff coming out of the Saints communications team. Shout out to New Orleans.football for providing this high-level content per usual. Subscribe, New Orleans.football. Help out, support the boys. They're doing a great job over there. All right, let's get into it.
All right, what's going on?
What's up, brother?
First one in the books. What'd you think?
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Obviously, it was a great process. It was kind of a fun culmination of a long process over the last few months. And so, it's that first opportunity for the coaching staff, for the scouting side of this thing, for all of us to team up on this process. And I felt like it's been a lot of fun.
Does it say anything about you? I know a lot of people are involved in this process, but your first draft with the team, you go with a left tackle. I mean, and what that position means and signifies.
Yeah, certainly I love the opportunity. Again, this is a trenches game. This is a game that's won up front in a lot of ways, and obviously my background has been around that in a lot of places I've been, and certainly this place is invested in it, and we feel like we can continue to do that. And so we feel like we're building a strength in that offensive line. We got a ton of really good talent there, and we're really excited about that.
I mean, yeah, him and Mickey have told you what they were going to do for a little while now. And this was a tricky draft. This was a really complicated draft for a first-time head coach. For a guy who, late into the process, because he won the Super Bowl, no big deal, but gets in there, has to get his staff together. You have the Carr injury saga happen 10 days before the draft. You don't know who's going to be there. There's rumors that Dart could be taken as high as 3rd. There's rumors that Shedeur Sanders could be taken at 3 or 9 or not in the first round. You got a fan base who's basically begging you to take a quarterback. You also have some unique players like Tyler Warren, Colson Loveland. You also have the idea of what if Ashton Genty falls? Really, really hard draft to figure out. And I think the Saints did a really good job of navigating those waters just because they stayed put. And just because they did not get wrapped up in the Dart hype, they did not get wrapped up in the Sanders hype, they did not panic, they did not make a mistake. I think they stood pat. They were true to themselves and true to their identity. And kudos to Kellen Moore. And I think it shows that maturity. I think when we talk about when we talked about Kellen Moore being hired, and he's a young guy, youngest head coach in the NFL, but his resume says otherwise. And he is a mature mind. And this was a very mature pick for the Saints. This was about as mature of a pick as you could make, where they're saying, you know what? This is what we're going to do. We are going to build out this offensive line. We are going to win in the trenches. We are going to build our roster inside out. Kellen just came off of the Eagles Super Bowl win, where he saw exactly what a dominant offensive line and a dominant defensive line can do. And I'll tell you this, I don't really give a shit if we took an offensive lineman in 2017. I don't really care if we took an offensive lineman in 2015 or whatever, and we took a defensive lineman in 2018, and we took an offensive lineman last year in the first round. I don't really care about all that stuff. I care about the product. And if taking Kelvin Banks the year after taking Talise Fuaga gives you 2 tackles that you can sit there and be like, these are setting the edge of the offensive line for the next 10 years, whatever. I don't get it. I don't get the idea of we missed on Trevor Penning, so we can't take this guy. Who missed on Trevor Penning? Kellen Moore? You got to let that stuff go. I keep using this example, but when the Eagles missed on Jalen Reagor and passed on Justin Jefferson, think about how bad their evaluation had to be. Think about how bad the scouting department had to be feeling or whatever, and the personnel group. Think about how bad that looks to say, not only do we need the position, but we're going to misgrade Jalen Reagor, number one, but then we're also going to misgrade Justin Jefferson. And that is a huge mistake. Do you think that stopped the Eagles from saying, you know what, let's take Devontae Smith? No. you just move on and keep it moving, keep it rolling. You know what I mean? Like, I think that like PTSD stuff of you got to be resilient, especially in the draft. The draft is a lottery, so I could care less who we drafted 10 years ago. I could care less who we drafted 20 years ago. I could care less if we drafted 16 offensive defensive linemen in the last 20 years. Whatever gives you the best product right now. You have got to look at the draft for what it is right now. You have to look at who's available, who's around you, what you're trying to do, what your system is, all those things. And I think the fact that the Saints said we know who we are, we know who we want to be, is something we haven't had since Sean Payton left. We haven't had that. We have not had this is our identity. This is who we are. This is what we're trying to build. And the fact that Kellen and whoever the decision makers were stayed put and got arguably the best tackle in the draft, I can live with it.
Ideally, see him at left tackle and Fuaga back on the right side, like the ideal vision.
We're going to give it plenty of flexibility through this whole offseason process and allow those guys to kind of go through this, give ourselves the flexibility to get the best 5 on the field because we feel like we have depth beyond that, and so it's going to be a great opportunity for us.
Very versatile offensive line. So I'm predicting that Banks will play left, Fuaga will move back to the right, Penning will slide in at guard. If he doesn't work, we shuffle in some of the vets. McCoy's obviously center, Cesar's at right. But if it doesn't work out that way and Fuaga has to stay at left and Banks goes to right or whatever, but I think the goal is to end up with whatever combination it is. Fuaga and Banks as your tackles. See if Penning can survive at guard. He's in like a prove-it deal because they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. So see if he can survive there. If he does, extend him, whatever, sign him. If he does not, okay, we got to fill the guard spot. But that's the goal. It is versatile. They can move it around. We'll hear for every day in the offseason, we'll hear, Talise Fuaga took this many reps at left and this many reps at right, and Banks took this rep here. But they're going to experiment. And but I think that is the end goal, is to have those 2 as your tackles.
Go ahead.
What's the about Kevin Banks?
Yeah, just through the whole process, he's everything you want your organization to represent. The player, the person, 3-year starter. She's just turning 21 here next month. You meet him, you quickly are gravitated to him as a person, and you put on the film, and he gets after people. You know, he moves people in the run game. He's a great pass protector. He just does an excellent job.
Hey, Kellen. Sorry, this is my turn. Do you know which quarterback he'll be blocking for by chance? Or have an idea?
We'll let that process play itself out. Obviously, Mickey kind of addressed that on Wednesday, and so we'll go through that.
What was the question? Oh, do you know which quarterback he'll be blocking for? Yeah, I mean, tricky question.
I y'all spoke at the combine, as well as pro day, but no top 30 visit and everything like that. Just kind of how early in the process.
I will say, though, as a reporter, I like that question. You know, it takes guts to ask a question like that. Don't mince words. Ask the question. So I think that reporter did do a good job. Didn't get an answer, which is expected, but I thought that's what you want from your reporter. So whoever that was, kudos.
Process that y'all identify him as maybe one of the guys that you look to go for now.
Well, certainly we felt like we had 2 touching base points there. Certainly I did. Being able to go to the pro day, being able to meet him at the combine, and so certainly we still had a couple opportunities. 30 visits sometimes come in for various reasons, and we just felt like we had a great feel for him. Felt like they had done a lot of work from a scouting department standpoint, and so we felt really comfortable with it.
I can guarantee you that some of those dinners and conversations with viewers was asking about Banks. And a lot of that happens as well, where you hear, the Saints having a private dinner with Quinn Ewers, and then they draft an offensive lineman from Texas. I can promise you there was some conversation of, what'd you think about Banks? How was it operating with him? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, did y'all make calls tonight trying to move back into the first round at all?
No, I mean, obviously there's always discussions as you go through this process, and those discussions certainly happen, but we felt good with where we're at.
Mickey said that you try to be faithful to the top of your board, but if you have 2 or 3 guys really close, you may go by position. Was this clear cut at the top of your board?
Yes, it was right at the top. We had a couple guys that were there that felt really, really good with, and certainly felt like the ability to increase our offensive line was just an excellent opportunity for our football team, just the identity of it and what we want to do.
I think seeing the board, how it played out, I think it's pretty safe to say that the Saints probably had Graham, Mimbu, Banks, maybe McMillan, controversial, but certainly Graham, Mimbu, and Banks were on the board. Like, that was their top of their board. And, you know, we saw how it played out. If Mimbu would have been there, maybe he's the pick. I don't know. If Graham was there, maybe he's the pick. But I do believe them when they say, like, this was the top of our board. This is who we had up there. So I would assume, you know, because they had a chance to draft, you know, some players that we thought they may go after, but they stayed put. So I think it's pretty safe to say that's what their focus was heading into the first round.
What would that process look like for figuring out who fits best where? You just try guys out at different spots and kind of go like that?
Yeah. I think it's obviously now that we're at this process, and you know we know Kelvin will be here. We'll go through that process just to kind of give a few different looks, a few different presentations for us, and you know it'll settle down as we go.
What do you think he would do at guard if that's a spot?
Certainly, we feel like he's got the flexibility to play anywhere on the offensive line as far as you know the tackle spots, the guard spots. You know, and we got other guys who are flexible too. I think you know we feel really good about this. You know. Got Trevor, you know, we went and signed Dylan. We got a lot of depth in this group that allows us to have some flexibility there.
Is Trevor somebody who could slide inside? Is Trevor somebody who could slide inside?
I think all of our guys have a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, guys, spoiler alert. They're going to try everyone everywhere. They're going to try Trevor at left guard. They're going to try Banks. They're going to move Fuaga to right tackle, left tackle. They're going to try everything.
Yeah, certainly feel like Trevor's continuing to progress.
The answer is whatever the best combination is what it will be.
We feel really good with where he's headed as a football player, and we're really excited to continue to build that process for him. And so, you know, like a lot of these guys, I think they all have flexibility.
Where do you feel like the starting place is right now for what that 5 starts? I mean, if you were to put those 5
He's not
guys
going to
out
answer
together
that
right now, are you able to say kind of?
How could you even answer that? You have no idea. Like, you have to see them together. You have to see. He hasn't even seen Trevor at left guard. He hasn't seen, like, you know, you got to see it first.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Obviously, competition has to play out, but just Kelvin specifically. I mean, when you were evaluating him, you saw him as a left tackle first and foremost. So, I mean, is that how you judge?
We feel like he can play tackle. He can play tackle in this league. He did it at Texas for 3 years.
He has never taken a snap at a different position
against some of the best competition in college football. You know, that's big time production right there. And so within that, he also has the flexibility to go play a bunch of other stuff. So it was just an awesome pick.
I'll say this when you're talking about, like, and then this kind of goes into the PTSD thing, but for a while there, it was always like, the Saints are taking these random players from random schools and these like mid-major schools or whatever. And the last 2 picks, so you take Felice Fuaga, who, he didn't give up a single sack last year, right? Or 2 years ago. Plays at a Power 5 school. And now you get Kelvin Banks, who not only is a 3-year starter, not only is he playing in the SEC, not only is he playing against the highest level competition, but you've got a guy who last year won the Best Offensive Lineman award at Texas, facing that kind of competition. So, I mean, that part is kind of a shift where these are like hot. This is Fuaga and Banks are high level, proven, done it in college against the best competition, plug in kind of guys. This is not taking North Dakota State. This is not taking Northern Illinois. This is not taking developmental. This is, hey, this guy's done this for 3 years at the highest level. I mean, I heard a stat today where he had like 1,500 pass reps at Texas, and he allowed, I think it was like 20 quarterback pressures. The fact that he has that many reps under his belt at that level is nuts. I mean, this guy went up against Michael Williams and Jalen Walker and, you know, Shamar Stewart. Like, he's ready.
What was it about? Like him being put in the fire so early? Did that appeal to you guys at all?
Well, certainly when you combine the situation, he's a 3-year starter. He's really young. He's about ready to turn 21. For him to just hop in there and compete at that high of a level in, you know, arguably some of the toughest games in college football that you're going to play. You know, just shows the player and the person that he is.
How much did conversations at the combine and your pro day kind of impact your view of him as a player? It seems like he has a really kind of engaging personality.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Word on the street is that he's like highest level character you can find. There's also some rumblings around that Mimbu might not like football. We saw some people fall because of potentially some character concerns. But everything I've gathered is that Banks is like an absolute high-level 10 out of 10 character guy.
The combine's really fast, these 15, 20-minute interactions, but you quickly kind of get a sense of the person very quickly, and then you just kind of continue to have these different touching base points. Pro Day was awesome. Certainly our scouts have, our scouts invest such a large amount of time over the course of the last few years to get to know these guys. They know these guys inside and out. They understand them as people in so many ways, and so we felt really good.
How much did having 2 former Texas assistants maybe help in the evaluation and knowing who he?
Never hurts to have 2 guys in-house that give you the thumbs up. Definitely helps you.
Was it just the cost of moving back into the first round that was prohibitive?
No. You just have conversation. We feel good. We got plenty of opportunities through this whole process. We got 3 picks tomorrow, and plenty of flexibility as we go through the next couple days.
Did you guys actually have serious considerations on the opposite, moving down from 9 at all?
Couple conversations here and there, but we felt like we had a great opportunity to get a really good player at 9, and certainly we felt the value of not missing that opportunity.
I've always said I think you have every conversation. Like, I think you say, what do we think about trading up? What do we think about trading down? What do we think about trading back into the first? Like, you need to be having those conversations. What you do not want is a completely static draft room. What you do not want is, our picks in 40 minutes, I'm going to go grab a burger. You want constant movement, and you want constant, like, what-if scenarios. You want to constantly be building that decision point tree and just kind of really being fluid, whether you do anything or not. So I want even though the Saints stayed at 9, I want to know that they had every conversation about moving up. They had every conversation about moving down. They built out the full decision tree, and they did what they had to do. Same with moving back into the first round. Even though they didn't, I want to know they had the conversation about, what if we do? What's it look like? What would it cost? Who would we move with? What would we take? All that.
Is there a consciousness or an importance of trying to end up with as many of those, 6 picks in the first 4 rounds as you can?
There's certainly value to that. Anytime you get, we feel like these guys that, we'll obviously start with the second round, but these 3rd round picks, these 4th round picks, these guys are going to be helping us, contribute to winning games this coming year, and so we feel like we're in a great place to utilize all these opportunities.
Kellen, is building from the trenches always been like a core philosophy for you, just as you've thought about football and that throughout your life?
Yeah, I think it's just you recognize the value of that in this game. If you have issues up front, if we have challenges, not a whole lot else can be accomplished without those guys. And so we recognize the value of that. I think that's the beauty of it. This place has continued to invest in it year in, year out. The last couple places I've been, it's been the same exact case, and feel like it's contributed to a lot of the success at other places and here included.
You're going to build on the trenches on the other side. Why did you guys go offensive line versus?
Yeah, certainly we just, we loved Kelvin as we went through this process. Certainly there was other opportunities, other discussion points as you go through this. These are never easy decisions because there's a lot of really good football players that have an opportunity to come to the NFL. And so, we ultimately felt like Kelvin was the best opportunity for us.
How do you say that you guys are really aligned when it comes to draft philosophies? And since you love building in the trenches and the Saints are habitually known for getting linemen in the first one, how easy was it to come to the conclusion to get an offensive lineman?
It ended up playing out, in a really clean, way, and so certainly we all feel very comfortable with that. It doesn't mean that we're not trying to go, find receivers, find skill guys, find back end guys on the defense. There's huge value in all these different positions, but.
I can go ahead and tell you can write that down. The fact that he said receiver, back end guys on the defense, that's where they're looking to go in the 2nd and 3rd round. They're looking to go defensive back. They're looking to go wide receiver.
Certainly aligned this way, with Kellen.
How do you all feel about the board tomorrow? Like, I know you just walked out of the room, but how do you feel going into tomorrow? And, do you sleep at night, or are you kind of thinking of what guys, and how early do you all start talking about it tomorrow?
Awesome question. Yeah. You feel like there's still some names up there, and it's going to go for a while here, but there's some names up there you're really fired up to see if we can find a way to get those guys. And so it'll be a really exciting process. We'll go through, kind of just like we have the last couple days, we'll go through a lot of scenarios tomorrow, just playing out different opportunities that we may have. And, it'll be fun to continue to build this thing.
I love it, man. Like Kellen Moore, I keep saying this, and I'm just going to keep saying it until I'm wrong, but I love him. I mean, every time he talks, I'm like, this guy gets it. He is a football guy. He is a football nerd. He is a guy who understands the current game. He's not living in 1985. He is, I am thrilled that he is the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. And I'm not the head coach of the Saints, but when I couldn't even go to bed last night after the stream, I watched like 2 or 3 videos about the draft. I was listening to some betting talk. I was checking the NHL playoff highlights. Like, I'm in it. First thing I did when I woke up this morning, I woke up at like 6 a.m. First thing I thought of was like, damn, okay, what are we going to do in the second round? Who's on the board? Let me start looking at some players here. Like, you gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. And that's what I've been saying about these damn analysts. These fugazi analysts who do not watch the games, who do not care about the sport, who don't ingest it, who whatever. In today's world, everything's so available, it's so accessible. The people who are all in and obsessed with it, that's who's going to win. And our coach, that's who's going to win. That was my whole thing with Mike McCarthy, was little old school. I don't know if he's what you want right now as a head coach. And Kellen Moore is exactly what you want as a head coach. He is philosophically in there. He is obsessed with it. He lives and breathes it. I mean, I'm tickled pink that Kellen Moore is the head coach of the New Orleans Saints.
Do you remember any
You guys have
games?
Spencer Rattler, and Mickey pointed out yesterday that he's been in contact with Carr, but did that cause you guys to look at your board any differently in the last week or so as some of that information emerged?
We've been building it, for the last couple months, and so we felt like the board was built the right way. We'll let the thing play itself out. We'll trust the process, and we feel like we got some good players in the building. Again, Mickey kind of addressed how Derek's situation is being played out, and so hopefully get some clarity in the coming time as everyone just goes through that process.
Do you remember any games or moments in particular that stood out to you that helped shape your opinion of him when you were going through his tape?
I mean, like I said, I didn't sleep much last night. I was watching Banks highlights and I was doing some other stuff, but I think if you watch the Georgia tape, I think if you watch that and you see his reps against Jalen Walker and against Mykal Williams, I think you come out of that feeling pretty damn good.
I think, the beauty of him going and playing 3 years at Texas, you go see him play some big-time opponents.
Yeah, I mean, you got an insane amount of tape on him.
And, there's a bunch of weeks where he's playing guys that, were drafted today and they'll be drafted tomorrow. And so when you go watch him play those games, you're seeing him play guys that are going to be playing on Sunday.
So he's talking about Georgia. He's talking about Texas A&M.
And so a bunch of games come out. He's one of those guys when you play there, week in and week out, he's battling
Ohio
some of the best.
State.
And so it showed up consistently.
I know Mickey said yesterday that, here they never trade back because he said he trusts what the scouts do, and if you love somebody, you just go get them. Obviously, you seem to love Kelvin. Would you say there's like 3 or 5 guys you love, that you wish you had? I mean, how does this draft look for you from maybe the talent perspective of I'd love to have that
hell
guy?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the best way, we've gone through a really good process. We feel like there's great opportunities throughout this draft. There's a lot of depth. Mickey's never opposed to trading back. We have those discussions. It just doesn't happen. And so, this will be a long process over the next couple of days. We go through this. Again, as we look at what's potentially ahead tomorrow, we feel great. We feel like we're going to be able to contribute and help this team in a lot of ways with the guys that are still on that board.
I heard a quote about the draft like months ago, and it said there's not a lot of stars, but there's a lot of starters. And I agree. This draft is not top heavy, but man, is it deep. Like if you're looking at the wide receivers, right? Like, okay, you go McMillan. If you count Travis Hunter as just a receiver, whatever. And then you have like 8 guys who it's like, yeah, I'm cool with having any of them. Running back, same thing. It's like, okay, Genty goes, I'm just as cool with Amarian Hampton as I am with Quinshon Judkins as I am with whoever. You know, defensive end, same thing. Linebacker, same thing. Cornerback, same thing. Like, it is deep. Quarterback, same thing. You're talking about, yeah, I mean, when we list out the quarterbacks and you're talking about Jackson Dart, Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, Kyle McCord, Will Howard, Jalen Milroe, Tyler Shuck, like you're getting 6, 7, 8, 9 deep at every position. Tight end, you know, okay, Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland, Mason Taylor, like, and then Harold Fannin, like you're 4 or 5 deep at every single position. Safety, you know, Eamon Wardy's still on the board. Malachi Starks goes late in the first round. It is a great draft, very deep draft. When a draft is that deep, take advantage of it. Don't take developmental players. Take starters. Take plug-and-play guys. We have said it for years. The Saints got to get younger. The Saints got to get cheaper. The best way to do that's in the draft. They got 9 picks. If they come out of this with 9 starters, they come out of this with 7 starters, my God. I mean, if they come out of the next 2 rounds with Will Johnson and Savion Williams and Harold Fannin and whatever, another defensive lineman, like, you're looking good. You know, you are looking strong.
How many first round grades did you have on players?
It's a great question. I
No
don't
idea
know the
what the
number.
Just from your previous experience with either Philly or LA or Dallas, do you feel like you had fewer first round players than you typically have? Was it about the same?
It was probably close to the same. It wasn't drastic, but yeah.
Yesterday, Mickey said that you guys are always in the business of quarterbacks. Is that something you agree with, and can you foresee yourself taking another quarterback for this room?
I think every organization is always looking at that position year in and year out. You know, even years with the past places I've been, you know, you study the quarterbacks each and every year because, you know, it's just a fun position. Obviously, I've been around it my whole life, and you know, continue to evaluate those guys because you never know. You may end up working with them. You know, Spencer, you know, I was in Philly. We weren't drafting a guy last year, but, you know, you got to go through the process and better understand Spencer. Jake was the previous year when he was coming out of Fresno. I was in L.A. You spent enough time, so when you came here, you really knew these guys really well, and you had gone through the evaluation process with those guys. And so I think you try and do it each and every year no matter what the circumstance is.
Sean Payton. I mean, that's the Sean Payton where you got Drew Brees. You're evaluating Patrick Mahomes. You're evaluating Lamar Jackson. You're evaluating whoever. Like, it's just, you probably should. You know, like, that's what I'm saying with building out every possibility and being ready for everything. And even if it doesn't come to fruition, like, do the due diligence. And you can only do that if you are obsessed with it and if you are all in all the time. And there's no doubt in my mind. We saw in this draft process. Kellen Moore and the team were at, I think, every single quarterback's pro day. Someone was there, you know, like Cam Ward, no chance to draft him. The entire organization is at his pro day. They're getting a look at every single person. They're not taking any days off. They're going from Tuscaloosa to Oxford to Austin to wherever they got to go. So, yeah, I think every year you evaluate the quarterbacks.
When you take the job, like I think you said something along the lines of like you knew Derek was going to be the quarterback, like agreeing to it. Like, when there's not that clarity, how do you process that as a coach now that you've been on the job for a month?
Yeah, again, as you go through this process, there's going to be different things that, you know, are adjustments as you go through this process. And so, yeah, obviously we feel good about Derek as far as, you know, having the opportunity to kind of go through this process, see where it's at. You know, sometimes things pop up as you go through this, just like in season, guys have things that you got to kind of navigate. And so, you know, we'll let this process play itself out.
Fans that are wondering about your depth at the quarterback position, how much did your time in Dallas and seeing what a 4th round pick with Dak Prescott give you confidence about what you guys can still find potentially at that spot?
Yeah, quarterbacks come from a lot of different avenues as you go through this process. Certainly, you know, being around Jalen was
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts, you know, Dak Prescott, yeah.
second round pick. Dak was the 4th. You know, Justin, hey, he was the 1st round high pick. But there's a lot of flexibility within that. You want to create an environment that allows these guys to be successful. That's important as you go through this. And so, you know, certainly we feel like these guys that are here, that have been a part of this thing, you know, we feel good about that room.
Here's another like philosophical thing that I think everyone needs to accept. There is no correlation to a pick or a position, success, nor failure. You can get a Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterback first overall. You can get one 32nd overall. You can get one in the 7th round. You can get one in the 4th round. You can get the best running back in the NFL, top 5. You can get him in the 6th round. Wide receiver, same thing. You can get Hall of Fame level guys undrafted or top 10 or top 5. Your offensive line, you can get 5 all-pro Hall of Famers if they're all first-round picks, or you can find them in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round. There is no correlation. It is all individual. It is all independent upon itself. It is all the draft. It's all its own year. It's all its own team, its own scheme, its own system, situations, all the variabilities. It blows my mind when people are like, well, just wait until the 4th round, then you can get blank player. It's like, well, yeah, or you could do it in the 1st, or you could do it in the 2nd. Like there's nothing. Prior history has absolutely no bearing on positional success, and when it comes into the draft.
Are you surprised about how the quarterback draft played out today?
No. Obviously, I think Cam's an excellent player. Everyone kind of knew how that one was going to go down, and he figured, at some point someone would pop up and take one, and we'll see how the rest of this thing goes. All right, awesome. Anything else? You guys good? Yeah. Oh yeah, one more.
With Kelvin, him being a captain at Texas, what did you notice from the leadership qualities that he had, and as you try and build a culture here and all that? Like, is he maybe someone who could pave the way for the next generation?
Big part of this process is getting to know them as people, and you quickly recognize the value that Kelvin has. Seeing him, the representation he has at Texas, that program just loves this guy, sees him as one of the leaders of that place, and you feel like when you're bringing those type of people in this building, they're going to help elevate our organization as well. So, all right, get a couple shots up, guys. Here we go.
All right, thanks, Kellen. Love you. All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Boom. Kellen Moore after the 1st round. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.